Get some more reaction on former President Jacob Zuma's resignation. I'm joined in studio by the South African Federation of Trade Unions General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. After President Zuma resigned, what do you think that his legacy will be with a specific focus on trade unions in South Africa?
Well, disaster. And he took the trade union movement in particular for a ride, and it had so much hope that a new page was going to be turned and that we were going to, for the first time, address the real challenges facing the working people in the country. And the trade union movement championed, at least the COSATU then, that we were leading, championed him in a naive belief that he was genuinely about working class issues. History have proven us wrong. And President Zuma have proven all of his detractors correct. We put in the whole agenda of decent life, for example, the issue of decent jobs, the issue of education transformation, healthcare to be free, fighting rural poverty, agrarian reforms, and fighting corruption and crime, ironically. Men in all of those aspects have failed us. President Zuma simply betrayed the trust that we placed on his shoulders, but we've now come to appreciate that it was not necessarily President Zuma alone. I think the ANC as a whole have betrayed the workers of this country.
Okay, someone who has trade union experience, incoming, assumingly, President Cyril Ramaphosa. He was part of the Council of Unions of South Africa, as well as the General Secretary of the National Union of Mine Workers. Do you think that that experience is going to help in workers having a better quality of life, perhaps, under his guidance of the country?
Not at all. The start has not been promising at all. Look, we're no longer talking about the champion, the undisputable champion of the mine workers' rights and or workers' rights in general. We're talking here about a multi-billionaire person now, and who forms part of the 1% class that controls everything that is moving in the economy. And people must recognize the two different class interests that he's bound to pursue. He's not going to pursue the interest of the workers. He's going to pursue the interest of the multi-billionaire class that he belongs to. And so, look at what the signals are already. He have signed a deal with the sweetheart unions and federations at NEDLEC to impose a 20 rand an hour national minimum wage that comes into effect on the 1st of May, the very day that is recognized as the International Day of Workers' Rights. There will be 18 rands a day, an hour for the farm workers, 15 rands for domestic workers, and 11 rand for the extended public works workers. That deal also seeks to undermine all of the rights that we have accrued in the Constitution, and including undermining the right to strike. That's the first signal. On Wednesday next week, the current Minister of Finance, based on the austerity program that have been driven by the previous ministers of finance like Pravin Gordhan, will announce a further 25 billion cut in the government expenditure and an increase in the rate of VAT. We know that VAT is a regressive tax system that hits more the poor than it will hit the rich. They want to raise 15 billion out of it, and they're supposed to be giving us a free education when this is all about robbing Peter in order to pay Paul.
Very briefly, as we are about to run out of time, we're seeing our unemployment at record highs, still around 26.7%. With an incoming president who you've said is a champion for business, perhaps more focused on capital, is it not a balance that we need to try and get employment up so that people are employed while we're still debating about and trying to raise that minimum wage that you've spoken about?
The issue is not individuals. The issue is what policies have been employed that have failed so spectacularly since 1994. The policies that they have been tried by the ANC have simply created the conditions of unemployment. Remember that when President Zuma took over this country, the reins of the country, unemployment was already at catastrophic levels of 23.7%. You have increased it, obviously, to 27% and now to 26.7%. That's the crux of the issue here. Will unemployment come down on the basis that we are changing the structure of the economy and we are doing the things that are enshrined in the Freedom Charter, wealth of the country shared, the land shared, and all of that? If you don't do that and you're going to give us the same old medicine but in new bottles, nothing will then change for workers and the poor in the country.
Thank you very much, Zwelinzima Vavi, GS of SAFTU, joining us in studio there. We'll have more reaction to that resignation after the break. Do stay with us on SABC News.